And as soon he announced a presidency, and then when he won, they start already talking about the impeachment. The opposition newspaper had the front page story, impeachment is starting. So I always said to him, what is next? So it's, in one way, you're not surprised. And every event that it happened, I'm thinking, what is next? What they are trying to do? And you always fear the worst, and that it happened.
The Vice Presidential nominees faced off for their one and only debate, which will probably be the last debate of this entire election. So Tim Walz and JD Vance spent 90 minutes clashing over the Middle East, abortion and the economy. But the most entertaining questions were when both candidates were asked about comments they'd made in the past. Have a look.
Senator Vance, in 2016, you called your running mate Donald Trump unfit for the nation's highest office, and you said he could be America's Hitler.
Sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump.
Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times.
Indeed, a knucklehead. I'm sure lots of people might agree with that. And then when it came to fact-checking, which only happened to JD Vance, by the way, he wasn't having it. He pushed back by explaining why the moderators were wrong. Take a look.
For our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
we're going to turn out of the economy. Thank you,
Margaret. The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on.
Mic drop. I mean, JD Vance wiped the floor with Tim Walz. He was composed, he was calm, he easily dismantled the attacks levelled by Walz and at times the moderators. He just looked like he knew what he was doing much more than Walz did, which is probably not a surprise because Vance does a lot of interviews all the time, including with lefty media outlets, so he knows how to deal with their attacks. Well, I'm joined now by the Australian's Washington correspondent, Adam Crichton. Adam, what do you make of my assessment? I think JD did a really good job today.
Yeah, look, I think 100% I agree with you, spot on there. I mean, it was a very good debate for JD Vance. I mean, I think he probably exceeded expectations. I mean, lots of people are saying that, that Tim Walz was at an unfair advantage. But I mean, remember, he is 20 years older than JD Vance. He's had a lot more experience as a politician. So he should have done better. But I mean, he had a lot of clangers. I mean, you highlighted one. I think another one that needs to be mentioned, and I, really felt sorry for Walz is when he accidentally said that he'd become friends with school shooters.
Well, you mentioned that, Adam. You mentioned that. Let's. I've got the clip here. Let's play the clip. Here is Tim Walz.
You previously opposed an assault weapons ban, but it's only later in your political career did you change your position. Why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it.
Oh, no, so painful.
Yeah, it was terrible, terrible. Terrible. And of course, that's gone viral. I mean, of all the statements in the debate, that's the one I think that people are going to remember, especially if they've been using social media. I mean, Donald Trump even took advantage of it. Certainly, I think the 90-minute debate has given Republicans a lot of confidence in this fifth week out from polling day. Certainly, that's the case. Whether it actually moves the needle, it's probably not going to. I did note that in those few snap polls that CNN ran, that CBS ran, they asked people if the debate had changed their mind, and only 1% of people said that it had. So I think by this stage, a lot of people have made up their mind. But nevertheless, it was a great night for Vance. It was a good night for Republicans. And I probably think Democrats were thinking, some of them would have been thinking, I wish we had chosen Josh Shapiro,
Yeah.
the governor of Pennsylvania. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure they were. But I've got to say, though, as ordinary as Tim Walz was, I was watching that debate in part thinking, imagine if these two were the presidential nominees, because the debate they had today was not a slanging match. It wasn't a personality contest. They actually debated the policy. You didn't have the personal attacks you had between Trump and Biden and then Trump and Harris. They actually had a lot of common ground and conceded points to each other. It was conciliatory politics. And I was watching going, my God, this is what has been missing from US politics for a long time.
Yeah, look, certainly that's right. I thought exactly the same thing. It was really harking back to a different era. And I suppose it's a basis to be confident for the future of US politics once the Trump era passes. I mean, I also had the thought that really Vance is a better candidate than Trump or Harris. I thought, but I mean, he's certainly, I think at least, a future president in the making. And he had a very good night.
Yeah, indeed. Look, even if Trump doesn't get up in November, you'd have to think that in 2028 they'd be looking very seriously at Vance after that performance. He is just polished and professional and young, and everything that I think the Republicans need to be looking towards. Adam, thank you for your time.